We all know this rep. The one who hits a snag in the field, fires off a group text message like, oh my gosh, what should I do? Meanwhile, someone is already fixing it quietly, strategically, and professionally. In medical device sales, it is not about knowing everything. It's about how you think when things go sideways.
Today, we are talking about the shortcut mindset, how to shift from asking to acting, and what it really takes to solve a problem like a high performer.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Secrets in Medical Device Sales brought to you by the Girls of Grit. We are so excited that you guys continue to join us every single week and listen to all these fun and exciting episodes. And we hope we are bringing you guys some really good stuff. And
I agree.
Right? Today is actually a really good one because, well, Cindy, I'll let you tell them your pectin story. And I'm like, oh my God, this is such a good episode.
So, Lisa sent this because, we record on Sundays. Okay. So it's on the weekend. Today's Sunday.
Yeah.
And this morning, I thought I was doing something very easy. And all I wanted to do was go to the grocery store and get the little pectin packages or whatever it is that you put inside preservatives to make strawberry jam. Strawberry season, so I want to make strawberry jam. Well, I don't buy it that often. And I don't know if anybody out here is like me, but I hate the grocery store. Okay. I can order online, I can do this and that. But if I go into the grocery store, I do this all the time. I look at my watch and sometimes I'm like 7 minutes. I can be out in 7 minutes and I just go get exactly what I need. Well, this morning, I didn't know where it was. So I thought, okay, if I'm a pectin gelatin package, where would I be? First, I think I'm going to go to the baking aisle. And I went up and down and up and down. And I noticed like nobody was really around. And then I was like, okay, where else? I'm like trying to find where it would be. Now, wait, I forgot to tell you the funny part. So I decided to shortcut my day. Okay, first of all, I don't want to go pick up something I don't know where it is. And if I go to Food Lion, which is the closest grocery store before I have to cross the street, and it's a packaged item in and out, it's not usually as crowded. Let me try that. But my go-to is Publix. So anyway, to go to Publix, I had to cross the main road. It's only 2 more minutes, but I'm like, I'm going to make this short and sweet. So I walk around, can't find it in the baking aisle. And I asked somebody, finally, when I found a person, and I said, oh, can you tell me where I can find this? I even had a picture of it. She looked at me, probably the baking aisle. And I was like, I was just in the baking aisle. Can you just look? Like, they have those they look like walkie-talkies or scanners, or they plug it in where they can find it. She's like, yeah, it's just somewhere. I'm like, well, can you help me find this? And she was like, just check the baking aisle. And the lady behind me goes, maybe it's in produce. And I just finally was like, but you work here? I wasn't rude. I was very nice. But I said, that's it. I put down the basket and I went right to Publix. I walked in and I'm like, all right, there's the baking aisle. I saw somebody on the way and I very nicely asked. She immediately pulls it up. She goes, no, that's in aisle 14 over there by where you package all the jars and stuff. Like where they sell like mason jars. So I found it. It was simple, but it's one of those things where, first of all, I tried to shortcut because I didn't feel like driving further. And I just wanted somebody to help me. You know what I mean?
You just need a problem solved. And they couldn't friggin' solve it for you. They couldn't be bothered to solve it for you. And so you had to go out of your way to go to Publix. First of all, I love Publix way more.
Me too.
But the truth is like, you go to Publix because you know you're going to find somebody who can help you. Doctors call the reps that they know are going to be able to solve the problems. They're not going to call the reps that are going to be like, I don't know. So today, that's what we're going to talk about is don't be the friggin' complaining rep, be the problem solver, be the solution. And there's some really easy things to think about, some steps to think about. And there's also a lot of mistakes that I guarantee you, every single one of you out there has done it, I myself included. But when you realize what you're doing, even long term, it's like, ooh, I got to stop doing that. I need to be the problem solver and not the complainer.
It's such a difference to be a problem solver. Like to me, just the thought of, I will not try to shortcut my way in going to Food Line. I'm just going to go right to Publix. It's a reliable place. And it's because I know that problem solving there can make a huge differentiator for me. Like I could have been in and out in 5 minutes. Instead, I wasted more time. So think about doctors. Think about how much time means to them, right? And so, but taking all this out of the grocery store and back into the OR and into our job, think about the problems we face every day. Okay, tech glitches. That is something that irks me because I can't fix my computer. I mean, I wish I
Oh,
could, but aren't those one of those things? You get a
yes.
glitch, then
Yes.
you've got to figure out how to do it. I would say
Yes.
that might be one, number one. I think back orders is another
Oh,
like
yeah.
huge pain, right? How do you solve this? What do you do? I'm trying to think, what are some other good?
Well, like recalls on products, I don't know, comp plan changes, people changing positions, leadership position, anything at all that can disrupt a rep's life in their field,
Oh, our
their-
schedule
yeah,
changing.
like
Yes.
everything, somebody's going to complain about it. And it's like, I'm guilty of that. I definitely can say that in the past, I had this little like text chain, that we would all like, oh, can you believe so and so, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, sure, it feels good to vent. It does. It
Mhm.
feels good to have some place that you can let out your complaints, your feelings, whatever. But is it really good? Because I really think that long term, that makes you one, look like the complainer, two, a potential troublemaker. And number three, if you're looking for a promotion in your company, that's the very first thing your company's going to be like, I don't know about this person because they can't be trusted to keep their mouth shut and they can't come with solutions. They're only coming with problems. And so
Yes.
it's the truth. It's hard to admit because I definitely have been there, done that, but it's so important if you want to be super successful and highly professional and highly just a high performer all around. You got to stop with the complaining.
Oh
Even though
my
it's fun,
gosh.
you still got to stop.
Oh my gosh. You are so right. And there's so many things you said in there that is so true. But problem solving actually really builds trust. I mean, hands down. I kind of said that in my example. But excuse makers are so dependent on other people. And think about what we talk about on this podcast, how you're a high performer. Okay. Yes, you're not on an island and you've got a team behind you, but high performers are that because they depend on themselves first. Reach out when they need help. They know how to network strategically. They don't just dump everything on somebody else because that's not going to get you anywhere. I think that's something let's bring that up now because I was guilty this morning, the grocery store. I wanted easier. I just didn't want to cross the main road. So why do reps default to being easy? Okay, think about it. Are you tired one day?
It's a
You just
crutch.
don't feel like doing something.
Yeah.
It's true. But when you default to easy, that doesn't always err in your favor. You might ask before you even think. Like, why do
Yeah.
you immediately, if the problem comes your way, let me ask everybody out there. You're walking into your day tomorrow morning, it's going to be Monday, and you get a phone call or you're walking in, now the OR schedule's changed, you got a case later. What do you do? Just think for a minute. You get a call, something's wrong, or your schedule changes. Are you going to stand there in the middle of the OR desk and call, I don't know, your manager? Oh, what do I do? Now this is this. Do you see a high performer immediately calling the lifeline of
Yeah.
solve my problem for me?
Ugh,
No.
absolutely not. No, you're going to flip the script. You're going to change. You're going to pivot. You're going to say, okay, I'm going to go see Dr. So-and-so instead. Well, Dr. Smith is still in the OR. I can still go see him afterwards or go make an office visit. I mean, all the things that you're supposed to be doing. But you're right, Cindy. And the truth is like doctors don't want to work with complainers. Like, who wants a complainer? It's like, oh God, get out of here. Be able to fix your own crap. If it's an issue, if it's a back order and you have no control over it, it is what it is. Find another option that they can use instead. What is a substitute? Give them the back order status. Tell them, okay, yes, it's not a great deal, but we have it, in the next 2 weeks. How else can I help you? What's another substitute? Hey, go above and beyond. Is there a competitor out there that maybe has a product that isn't maybe quite as good in your eyes or the, customer's eyes, but they are a substitute for what you sell? Offer them that information. I know so and so sells almost the exact same product. It's available. I already checked. I have the rep's number here. Here you go. If you think for 1 minute that your physicians are all of a sudden going to change their business because you're helping them out by giving them a competitor's information, you are so wrong. They instead will absolutely respond to the fact that you are being a trusted partner, which we always talk about, and you're solving the problem versus, "Meow, we're on back order. Sorry, I have nothing for you." Well, where does that leave them? Like, they're like, okay, well, thanks a lot. Thanks for nothing. They're still going to
It's so
find your
true
competitor,
because
by the way.
the problem isn't always the problem. If you think about it, it's how you react to it. What are you going to do? The problem is there. Okay. Like Lisa said, are you just going to tell well, sorry, customer service doesn't know anything, can't help you? No. When you jump in with 2 feet, you become their partner and you really help them problem solve because, when you make it like their problem and not yours, then you're not partnering with them. And just to be able to see that, I think is a big thing. So in every one of our episodes, we always talk about the secret behind things. So before we really help you solve this problem of problem solving, haha, Lisa, I think we need to reveal our secret. What do you think?
Yes, you reveal it. You say it.
Okay, so Lisa and I believe the secret to problem solving is knowing this. Everything is figure outable. Okay, where did I get that from? So let's rewind about 10 years. I thought I made the word up. I totally did not. There is an author of a book, Marie, I think you pronounce her name Forleo. It's Forleo. She actually wrote a book. It's titled Everything is Figure Outable. I got the Audible and it made me laugh. It's so true. Because being a mom, I think you try to teach your kids how to problem solve. Okay, so interesting story. This just happened. My daughter is going to officer training school in the Air Force. So she flew across country. The Air Force books her a room at the Marriott. She gets all the way there and she goes to the front desk and the Marriott says, "We have your confirmation number, but your room is canceled." And she's like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "Well, there's a glitch in the system." Now she's young and she's tired. She just flew across country and now there's no room for her. And they say the whole place is sold out. So we're looking around and being a Marriott member, Marriott is good to us. So I had points. We found another place, got her booked at another place. So she was all stressed out. And the end of the night, I said to her, "Well, what did you learn from today?" She was like, "I don't know. This is stressful." I'm like, "You learned that everything is figure outable. You can figure this out. There's a solution." You didn't have to sleep in the lobby of a hotel. You knew that I had resources to Marriott. You called me for help. We figured it out. And I think that when you tackle a problem, trying to break it down, go behind the problem and see where it is in a system like engineers do, you can solve the problem. And I love, you guys, this is a great book. If anybody just stresses over this and has issues with problem solving, Everything Figure Outable is a great book, by the way.
I need to read it. It sounds, I swear, I think I listened to maybe the Cliff Note version or something, but I know I've heard it before. I'm going to definitely listen to it. But you're right. And the automatic reflex is to freak out, is to panic.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you not do that, right? How
Yep.
do you instead become that thoughtful, problem-solving sales rep? I think one of the first things is obviously to change your mindset and to pause, to take a break, just chill out, take a break. Okay, let's just say the OR schedule changes right before your eyes. Case cancels. You brought in all the graphs. You got up at 3 in the morning, we'll say. You drove 4 hours, right, to get there by 7 a.m., which I have done, and you have too, Cindy. And we have had cases either get super, super delayed or get canceled. It is what it is. This is surgery, you guys. Things happen. Our agendas are not our own. We're at the beck and call of the patients and the physicians and the OR scheduling and all of the things. It is what it is. So first of all, you need to accept that. Second of all, okay, instead of just being like, "Oh, man," a bunch of curse words come out of your mouth, go get a cup of coffee, go pee if you didn't pee, and sit in the lobby, drink your coffee, and then figure out where you're going to go. Figure out what you're going to do. If you need to ship product back or give it to the next rep, you got to do that. And figure out when the case is now going to be scheduled. I mean, truth be told, it's probably just getting rescheduled. So do that part. So you follow up and then figure out where you're going to go that day. If you are in a town away from your own home, go make some sales calls. You're in sales. Let's figure it out, right? It's all figure outable, like Cindy just said. But I think one of the first things is to take a breath before you start to panic, because nothing in this life is, other than death and taxes, you can change it. It's going to be okay. So just take a breath and look at it differently as a perspective, because when you get into the middle of a case and crap is going wrong, you don't get to panic then. So Why are you panicking now? I mean, come on.
Exactly. Think about how when you're selling, you're going to problem solve there. So why is it any different to not critically think through things? And something you were saying is, I feel like maybe a good way to summarize what you just said is to own it before you outsource your problem.
Oh, I love
Because
that.
you may have already solved it in the time that it took you to pick up the phone and complain to somebody over and over. And now it's worse. And you're making the old saying of a mountain out of a molehill. When if you just own it and say, okay, let me just figure this out, before you know it, your problem is solved and you're on to the next thing. Because high performers don't dwell on problems, negativities, and just, oh, yes, well, if you talk to a high performer at the end of the day, how was your day? They're going to talk about the high points first. They're not going to spend 10 minutes talking about one problem that they had to discuss 5 times and commiserate with somebody else and then never get out of their problem. So
Yeah, I love that. And
own it before
yeah,
you outsource.
own it and tap into those things that you do have at your fingertips. Okay. If it is like a technical thing, like you were saying, Cindy, well, usually we have an IT department. Usually most companies have IT departments. Most of the time, like me, I have them on speed dial. So I can like just text them and be like,
Why do you do
it's not working. Answer me now. But like tap into your tools, into your solutions, figure out how you're going to fix the problem. Is it something as simple as you just being able to go to Best Buy? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Or if you're in the middle of a case and something goes wrong, first of all, you should already know what you're doing in terms of being able to troubleshoot. But if you cannot, it's really funny, Cindy. We used to have this text stream. This was back when we first got phones, and I was with a startup company at the time. Brand new device. I was a new rep, but like brand new device to the market. And so we had what we called technical support. And it was like this text string where if you texted this number, people that got it knew what they were doing. They could answer any text message whatsoever.
Wow.
It was like amazing. And let me tell you, I was in a case, I want to say it was like the 5th case I was doing, something like that. We got into a bind and the physician asked me a question and I didn't know the answer to it. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know, but I'll ask tech support. And I quickly like texted away. I think it was on my little, like, I don't remember what the phone was called.
BlackBerry?
The Palm Pilot.
Oh my gosh.
Remember those? But I texted and immediately 5 answers came back, all the same exact answer. And I'm like, oh, there you go. So it was like,
Wow. That's a lifeline for sure.
right? But I just had to pause and tap into my tools that I knew that I had. And you're not going to be able to do that every time, but maybe set that up, you guys. Like maybe have somebody that you can text last minute in a bind. Maybe your team members, hey, they're all potentially in cases, but maybe somebody isn't in a case and you can quickly text all of them and say, hey, anybody know the answer to this kind of thing?
Well, your example is really important because there's a lot of people listening that work for startup companies.
Yeah.
And it's a startup. So what happens is there's going to be incidents that nobody else has heard of. So it's not like you went to training and they told you all the things that can go wrong and here's all the ways to handle it.
Yep.
So in your instance, it's still so new that this is the first time. And if you're thinking in your head, okay, this doesn't work. Now we got to get the doctor out. That's exactly when you outsource. I really like that. I think if anybody listening needs to at least have a lifeline of 1, 2 to 5 people that they could immediately get to. But I think that's really important. But at that point, your decision was to use the lifeline. And clearly that was a good choice. So that's good.
Yeah. Again, it's taking ownership and owning it. Like you said, you need to own the issues. It's your job to figure it out. Not every single time are you going to have an answer for every single thing. But number one, you should admit it when you don't have the answer. And then you're going to tell the physician, I can figure that out for you ASAP. But it is your job to have solutions to almost every problem and not to sit there and complain about them. Back orders happen to everybody. Recalls happen to a lot of companies. Changes in leadership happen. Companies getting bought. Like things that we can't control out there are going to happen. And if you sit back and you complain about it versus looking on the bright side and figuring out a way around it and a better solution, not only do you look better, your mindset's better, but your customers are like, oh, wow, look at that. It rolled right off of his shoulders. She's doing great. And they want that, right? They want their reps to be okay. They don't want you struggling, trying to get through a problem. They want to know, look at that. She figured it out.
So if you're listening and you're wondering, well, am I this person? Maybe I do sometimes, maybe I don't. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. If you're somebody who defaults too quickly to outsource, are you someone that asks somebody something that you could simply Google? I mean, could you literally just Google it, or are you taking the time to call somebody that you could Google? Are you also somebody that throws a problem out there and then sits back and now you're just waiting for somebody else to fix it? So maybe a good example of this is I do remember somebody I used to work with that as soon as something went wrong, he would send it up to his manager and just tell him something's wrong and then wait. And I remember the manager had, like, this was when your phone's going to get wet, and he dropped his phone like in a sink or a toilet or something. So hours go by and there's no communication. Well, this rep never followed up, just thought by asking the manager he would solve the problem. Turns out nothing was ever solved. And who does the doctor blame? You think he's blaming the manager who lost his phone down a toilet? No, it's the rep. So if you sit back and just wait somebody else to fix your issue, you could be guilty. And I think another thing to think about if you're in this bucket of defaulting to handing off is if you're somebody who immediately just hands responsibility off too early. So I'm throwing out those scenarios because, again, in this episode, we want you to think critically. As Lisa said, pause, think, try to solve, because top reps solve problems like it's a second nature. They don't have to think of anything in an algorithm. They've trained their brain to own their outcome. And why that helps them is the moment it matters most is they learn how to rely on their own internal resources. They think, they critically think, they know what they know about their device, and they can break it down. This works here, this works here. And I think that that is so crucial in this job. Solving a problem is really how you react into the problem presented. I think it's so important.
I was thinking about something that I read not that long ago, and it says the best salespeople, or you can infuse high performers, don't just sell solutions, they become the solution. And I think when you become the solution for all the problems, then why wouldn't they want to work with you? Why would they want to work with anybody else? Because if you can solve all the solutions, all the problems for your physicians with solutions, and you become the solution, they're never going to call anybody else. You're going to be like, no, I'm going to call Lisa or Cindy. They already got me.
And Lisa, I think this is really important. You said if you solve all the problems, well, if you try to work through the problem with a physician, they will always call on you. I just want to clarify that because
Okay,
we're not, every problem doesn't have an immediate solution anyway.
Good point.
But every problem can have somebody help them step by step. We would love for you to walk away with the takeaway that you want the physician to call you to help them solve their problem or your problem, is walk through that with them. Your answer may not come right away. That doesn't mean you didn't solve it, but owning it and critically thinking and working through that makes a huge difference and you're asking with purpose. You're not just complaining. I think that's what separates it. And I know you said that at the very beginning, but problem solvers truly have a purpose in their problem solving. When a problem comes their way, they don't panic.
I love it. All right. So what's our call to action? Because I feel like our call to action should be something like, okay, the next time you are faced with a problem, how are you going to react to it? Are you going to freak out, call your manager, complain? Or are you going to sit back, take your 5-second or 10-second break and figure out a solution to the problem? Because it can be as simple as taking a little bit of time and thinking to yourself, okay, this is a problem that I can solve. How am I going to solve it to get that next call from the customer and to be the solution, not the problem?
I love it. And the secret is, like Marie Forleo said, everything is figure outable. And don't panic. Break it down. I think many of you listening sell with a lot of power. You sell with confidence, creativity, and many of you a lot of grit. If you attack solving problems like that, that's where you're going to see a difference. So we'll leave you with this note to solve like you sell with confidence, creativity, and grit. We hope you enjoyed this little awakening on problem solving. And to give you one little tip to take it a step further, thank you so much for listening. Definitely write us a review, drop into our DMs, send us messages. We'd love to hear from you. And we're wishing you an awesome week ahead in selling.